Hi, Rainey Bastarash here with a little tidbit or hypnotic marketing technique I'd like to speak to you about. Have you ever had a product or something, anything you were selling that you were so excited about selling it, you knew it was great, but you just lost the sale? The person didn't want it and you just had no idea why? That's what I want to speak to you about. Let's imagine you have a product, it's great, you believe in it, you want it yourself, and you just can't see why anybody else wouldn't want it. Well, I want you to know that the product isn't really the problem. There's a couple things that a lot of salespeople, and I notice in our organization especially, they're just not seeing where the client's coming from. That's number one. You need to see where your client is coming from. And number two, you need to understand their perspective. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say I had a pot of gold, okay? This pot of gold is worth $50,000. And I said, do you want this pot of gold? I'm going to put it right here in Portland, Maine, okay? I'm going to put it right in the center square and it's yours to have. Now, most everybody would want it. That's the product. Everybody wants it. It's a great product. But where are you coming from? If in the same situation, I told you I was going to drop you off by plane somewhere or helicopter at some remote place in the world and not tell you where it is. I'm going to blindfold you. I'm going to drop you off, let's say, by a lake. Now, this lake can be in Maine. It could be not too far from here. It can be in Arizona. It could be in California. It can be in India or even Australia. Depending on where I drop you off, your first thing you need to figure out is, okay, where am I and how am I going to get there, okay? Everyone is coming from a different location, from a different situation. Depending on where you're coming from has a lot to do with whether you're going to want the product, whether you can have it now, whether you can have it later, or whether you can have it at all. Maybe there's no way for you to get across the ocean in this example. So it's important for you to understand where they're coming from and what their perspective is. Let's talk a little bit more about perspective. Let's say my product was a big chunk of ore, a big chunk of ore with wonderful minerals in there. So I put this chunk of ore on the table right between the client and myself, okay, me being the salesman. Here I am trying to sell this chunk of ore because as I'm looking at it, there's 2 or 3 huge diamonds sticking out. So this thing is worth thousands and I'm selling it for $500. What a deal, right? It's like the pot of gold. No, so is diamonds in there, it's worth about and I'm gonna sell it for $500. Now, from the perspective of the client who's sitting on the other side of the table, he looks at it and all he's seeing is worthless minerals because the diamonds are all on my side. So here I am trying to sell a product from my perspective as a salesperson saying this is a great product, I want it, and they just can't get it because they're not seeing things the same way I do. Why don't clients see things the same way you do? Well, because of their upbringing, because of their programming, because of their environment, because of the things they learn throughout their lives that make them think the way they do. People don't think the same way. A great deal for me is not, necessarily a great deal for you. So their perspective is different. So rather than me trying to beat them over the brow saying this is great with all the different tools that we have, what I need to do is I need to get up, walk over to their chair, and have them explain it to me the way they see it. Now that I can see it the way they see it, I'm giving them the chance to talk, and that can be hard for salesmen, okay? We have 2 ears and 1 mouth because we should listen twice as much as we talk, but we seem to do the other way around. But now that they've had a chance to show it to me that they see just worthless minerals, I can understand. I can relate to how they're looking at the sale. It's not worth it to them. What I need to do is come to an understanding of their situation and maybe even recap it. So what you're saying to me is you're not interested in a piece of ore because you don't see anything worthwhile in it, right? And the guy says, yeah, that's exactly it. So now I've acknowledged what their problem is. So now that I've done that, I have deserved the right to ask them a favor. But just for a moment, indulge me. Can you come around to my side of the table, sit in my seat so I can explain to you what I'm seeing? So now that I understand their situation, I have the tools that I need, the information that I need to be able to close the sale or make a change if I need to. So I take them over to my side of the table. I say, now look at it from my side. It's the same rock, but looking at it over here, do you see those 3 diamonds? They're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm only asking 500. Isn't that worth it? So now I can close the sale. Hopefully, okay? They see my perspective, and hopefully they're going to buy it. Now, going back to where they come from, they may buy it if they're an investor. They may buy it if they want to buy it as a gift for their wife or for their husband. But how about where they come from if they're extremely broke, if they're living on the street and they don't even have money for food? Money for food, because I'm starving, or diamonds? Well, diamonds are nice, but I need the food. I don't have the $500, you see? So again, where they're coming from is very important. So keep that in mind. Whenever you have a sale, if it's a product you believe in and you know anybody would want it because you do, that's important to understand it. Don't sell garbage, sell something that's worth it. Find out where they're coming from, identify it, relate it back to them so they can agree with, yes, that's what my problem is, or no, it isn't. Look at their perspective, have them come over and look at your perspective. Now you have a way to make a sale. Now, another example. Let's say I'm trying to sell a really economical car, an electric car, okay? This thing can go 200 miles with one plug-in. It's great. It's green. It's going to save the economy. You can go so far with it, and it's just a really nice car. Now, from my point of view, that's a good deal from my perspective. However, since I didn't see where my client's coming from, he might be one of these monster truck buff. He might have come into your place to look for a car. Maybe he wanted a big souped up truck with big wheels, a gas guzzler that goes really fast so he can go out, racing and out in the woods and the monster truck rallies and all these different things. Okay, so if that's what he wants, you're barking up the wrong tree with this economical electric green car. So now that you find out where he's coming from, now that you're seeing things from his perspective, okay, you're not going to come around your end and try to sell him the electric car. Being a salesman, you're going to be able to make that quick decision of this is what he wants. So you're going to kind of walk past the electric car and bring him right to the monster truck because you know that's what he wants, and you're going to close the deal. So in your next presentation, go ahead and try these techniques. Better yet, don't try them, do these techniques, okay? Find out where they're coming from, see it from their perspective, identify them, show them your perspective, and close. I think you'll find that a lot more effective. You're going to have a lot more sales. Now, I want to ask you a favor, okay? If you've had something like this happen before to you, where you've had a sale, you were so excited and you just went out trying to push it and lost it, or anything similar to this, go ahead and leave me a comment below so we can see what your situation was, what happened, so everyone can learn from it. We'd all appreciate it. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time.